Step one, we're going to remove the cable from the electric winch. Your first step is going to be taking a 3/8 either a socket head, a socket, or you can use an extension bit. But first things first, you're going to have 4 bolts. It's going to be, look, 1, 2, and the same thing on the opposite side. 3 and 4. So we go ahead and remove those. So the only difference you'll notice, this side here, they had a 1-inch long on the power cable side, and on the opposite side, they were 1/2 inch long. Just make sure you put them in backing correct. Those on the left side, these on the right side. All right. Next step, you're gonna spread it at the bottom, and you're gonna wiggle it off. There's a couple gears on each side, so you may have to slide it forward, come out. Make sure you don't pull too hard, otherwise you'll rip your wires out. So make sure your wires are still connected, and you can let it hang. Next step, this is where you're going to actually remove the wire. So we're going to release the what we call a wire rope holder. Requires a nut and this to all come apart. All right, and you're going to use, in order to remove this wire rope, you are going to use a 7/16 wrench, and you'll simply just remove it. Your wire holder, your nut, and then your bolt that has a square head on it. So once that's free there, you can see your wire is ready to be loose. You pull it through and watch your eyes because it will unspool on you. So once you got all your old bad wire come off, you will then pull it all the way out. Get it all unraveled. So as you know, this is the cable you will be replacing. Next step, you're going to remove your stop bolt. What the stop bolt does is allows these stages to come out. So you're going to use a 9/16 socket, reverse it all the way out, and now you're good. Put that in your bin. Next thing to do is release the second stage from the first stage. We'll be using a 1/2 inch wrench and a 1/2 inch socket. All right, you're gonna make sure you leave all this just like this. Next step, pull your top 3 stages slightly out. And now it's time to remove what we call the Delrin guides. You're going to be using a 1/2 inch and a 1/2 inch. Once you're about to get the last ones done, get a second man to help you hold it up. If not, you can check your bolt. It'll fall and hold on that thread. Now we have the entire second, third, and fourth stage free. It is now time to pull it out and remove your cable. This could take several men, or if you have a forklift available, even more preferred. So we got our saddles ready. We're gonna slide it out and we're gonna set it on there. While you're pulling this, you want to make sure you keep pressure on this, otherwise it'll get bound in there. Alright, last step is to remove the roller. The same thing, 1/2 inch wrench, 1/2 inch drive.
Goes and goes.
Since we have the last piece out, we are now able to move it. Did we usually pull it out before? Where you like
What's up, dude? Haven't seen you in 100 years, Chris.
We're here the whole time.
Gotta go through this road.
So once you have it almost all the way out, you're now going to take your end of your wire and you're going to feed it through so you can unravel that. You may have to get assistance to lift it up to create your gap. So we're pulling that under through there. See, now we got it out of our ring and it's all on this side now. Before it used to be through the hole. So now once we're straight, we can now lift it and slide her all the way out. Perfect. So there's your stages. Pull onto it. So what had happened, you can now wreck this wire. All you do now, simply remove it. If you do have a slit cut area, you may have to cut it at that portion to get it through your hole. So you'll receive your new wire. I'll already have a crimp on it like that. When you get that crimp, you then still go back through, feed it through the bottom of your hole. Sometimes it makes it better if you put tape around this area. So we're feeding it back in, all the way up, and all the way into it. Trick about this, you want to make sure this is down. This cannot be like this. It needs to be down. All right, so we have our new wire in. We're ready now to insert our stages back into our mast. So you want to keep hold of that cable, don't let it get trapped. And now we're going to insert it back into our unit. So there, you put it in about 3 inches. Now we're going to repeat that process to bring it back through. So it's there. Bring it back up and back into the hole. So you should look just like that again. Your stage is in and your cable is coming through. Next thing to do is reinstall your bearing. Make sure you don't lose your center. Bearing in. Longest bolt. And through. Make sure your cable is underneath the roller. And now that is in correct position. Next thing, washer, lock nut, and we're ready to tighten with a 1/2 inch drive and a 1/2 inch wrench. So we use nylock nuts. Make sure you don't over tighten, otherwise you won't allow your bearing to spin. Bearing is still spinning as the correct tightness. So since we have it all there, get your second helper to now push back in your stage while someone holds the wire. Slow and steady. At this point, now you're ready to put back on your Delrin guides. So we're going to start at the bottom. We're going to lift up with your partner and you're going to put in your bolts. On the bottom of the Delrin, you do not use washers, only the top. If you want, Chris, you can shut it all down. Just leave the bay door open and I'll get that one.
Everything else I locked up. Oh, everything's dummy locked.
Alright.
Alright, I'll be right early in the morning.
Alright, see you tomorrow. Now, we're on the top. Let's make sure we always leave everything loose and install all the bolts, then tighten everything up. All right, and finally your last one. And have someone hold it in the center while it gets snugged up. Alright, once you got your Delrin back on, your next step is now to reattach stage 2, 3, and 4. From there, we will slide it all the way up. Make sure you keep that straight. And right about there. Allowing to get yourself more slack here, you simply pull out the stage before it. Hold and pull. That'll allow you to get that bolt in there perfectly without ease. So then you got your washer, and then we got our nut. See that tighten up like that? You just bring it back until you got a little bit of slack. So now, you know everything's good, when all your stages are back to normal. Push that in, that should tighten up your cable. Now we're on the final step to reattach your final stage. Cable. So if you haven't already have a bend in it, it's very wise to put a bend. That'll allow you to bring it through the hole and crimp it correctly with using your wire. So you're gonna come directly in, through,
Got anything, J-Bo?
and now back here. We're trying to finish this up real quick. So that nut back in, make sure the square is synced all the way in, and you can see it on this side. From there, you bring that in, and need to make sure when you're putting this on that you actually put the wire rope in your two grooves. Just like that. In the groove, and ready for the nut. All right, and the nut. Perfect. Now, once you have it attached, you will now plug in your electric winch. Be cautious not to put your hands or your wires anywhere near the drum, and you're going to crank it in. Little wrap. Make sure when you're doing this, you continue to wrap it and keep it tight on one side. Don't let it fray over there. Keep it nice and steady. Otherwise, you'll have your cable fray again like you have it right now. Most reasons why the cables break is because you unwind your winch too much in the down position, and you'll let it unspool incorrectly. Never unwind your winch all the way. As you know, we're starting to get to the final step, and you'll start to raise it. Done. Last step, your box, check your wires, all wires attached. You're simply going to spread it and slide it up. Perfect. Just like step one, we said the small screws go on this side. And the long ones go on the opposite side. Perfect. Once you have that complete, you are ready to work your mast once again. Done deal.